लड़के से पूछोगे कि आप नेक्स्ट जन्म में लड़का बनना चाहोगे तो वो हाँ बोलेगा, बट अगर एक लड़कियों से पूछोगे तो लड़की बोलेगा कि हाँ हम लड़के बनेंगे, हमें लड़की नहीं बननी दोबारा।
Is this true? So if you look at my screen, it says feminist myth debunked right here. We're going to keep a count of all the lies that she tells and all the lies that we debunk.
लड़के बनेंगे, हमें लड़की नहीं बननी दोबारा।
Which gender, which sex is more likely to transition? What transition is more common? Male to female or female to male? The consistently greater prevalence of trans women than trans men. Trans women, meaning male to female conversions, are much more than female to male conversions. How does that happen? Because as per this feminist, men shouldn't want to be women in the first place.
Why the fuck you lying? Oh my god. Stop fucking lying.
Here you have the first lie. But let me tell you a story. How many people remember Norah Vincent? Norah Vincent was basically this woman who subscribed to the same ideology, which is that it is so easy to be a man. So Norah Vincent actually did a experiment, which is that she pretended to be a man for a straight 2 years. And after that, she was going to report her findings about how easy it is to be a man, right? Guess what happened to Norah Vincent?
Norah Vincent disguised herself as a man for 2 years because she wanted to prove that men's lives were easier. She ended up killing herself because of how horribly she was treated by society, mainly women. She had to end her experiment 18 months into it because the trauma was crippling. In the bleak midwinter,
Norah Vincent, the author of Self-Made Man, has died by assisted suicide. She was a radical feminist who believed men lived on easy mode. And
yeah, kind of like you, Shirasi. You believe men live an easy life.
tried to prove it by disguising herself as a man for 2 years.
Yeah, why doesn't Shirasi try to prove the same thing? We'll see if it's really that easy. She should rerun the experiment that Norah did.
Instead, what she found out is that men actually have it very hard, and wrote a book about her experience. The experience was so bad that she had to stop after 18 months because she was starting to hate women due to how bad the women treated her when she believed she was a man.
Men are suffering. They have different problems that women have, but
Chat, you'll be surprised at how she wrote the experience and drew the comparison. Okay, which I'm going to show you in an article really
they
quickly.
don't have it
Was she a radical feminist? Well, that's what it looks like.
better. They need our sympathy, they need our love. They need each other more than anything else. They need to be together.
Do you think women understand what it's like to be a man?
Not at all. No clue. No idea. I really like being me, and I really like being a woman.
Did you like being a woman before, Ned?
I did, but I like it more now because I think it's more of a privilege.
Chat, you know what happens is, people like making assumptions about others, but they have no lived experience of doing that. Somebody who watches a color TV is always happy, right? It's like they don't know the privileges they have until you downgrade their TV to black and white. Then they realize how much of a privilege they had in comparison to having to watch black and white TV, right? This is what happens when women try to become men. It's like they never had an idea how much privileges they had until they really got a lived experience to compare it to. Hello, my keep growing brother. Hi, Rohit. Welcome to the stream.
Just reminded that in this arena, it's women who have all the power.
We sit there and we just with one word, no, will crush someone. And the thing is, we don't have to do the part where you cross the room and you go up to a stranger and say the first words. And those first words are so hard to say without sounding like a cheese ball or sounding like a jerk or
Yeah, so all the women who make fun of men for loneliness epidemic, if you lived our lives, you would be feeling that.
whatever else.
She says the pressure of Ned having to prove himself was grueling.
And Ned was basically the character she adopted for 2 years for that experiment as a man.
Norah was surprised that many women had no interest in a soft, vulnerable man.
My prejudice was that the ideal man is a woman in a man's body. And I learned, no, that's really not. There are a lot of women out there who really want a manly man. Men are suffering. They have different problems than women have, but they don't have it better. They need our sympathy, they need our love, and they need each other more than anything else. They need to be together.
Do you think women understand what it's like to be a man?
Not at all. No clue.
Yeah, now Norah, please tell Shreyosi that fact.
कि आप एक लड़के से पूछोगे कि आप नेक्स्ट जन्म में लड़का बनना चाहोगे तो वो हाँ बोलेगा, बट अगर एक लड़कियों से पूछोगे तो लड़की बोलेगा कि हाँ हम लड़के बनेंगे, हमें लड़की नहीं बननी दोबारा।
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, ignorance is just high, right? Now, before we move on, chat, I think one feminist myth has already made it to the counter, okay? And it's been debunked. Now, before we move on, I think there's something interesting people should take a look at about Norah's story that didn't show up in the clips. And you know what that is? Let me pull up this article. And whoever watched the Toxic Masculinity stream that I did 1 or 2 weeks ago, you'll be able to relate. So here's the article, right? Now, let me show you something interesting. So Norah basically wrote her experience in A Self-Made Man, which was a book. Came out in 2006. It was nearly an instant bestseller, okay? But the book was no joke. It was nuanced and thoughtful work. It drew comparisons to Black Like Me. Why would Norah, who was trying to prove that men's lives are easier, when she got a rude awakening that they're not easier, why did she compare it to Black Like Me? Well, because in Black Like Me, the white journalist John Howard Griffin's 1961 book about his experiences passing as a black man in the segregated Deep South, what she's really trying to say is that being a man today is hated just as much as being a black man was hated during the segregation era. This is what I was trying to cover during the Toxic Masculinity stream that we did last week. It's simply that men get profiled as rapists just as much as black men get profiled as criminals. Who remembers this video going viral, where a woman was claiming that if you're a man and you see a woman, do not come close to her?
Speaking right now, because I just had a man approach me in a parking lot. So this guy, I am alone with my son, by myself, a woman, and a male approached me in a parking lot. He's, "Excuse me, miss," and I don't know why in the hell he was approaching me or what he was trying to do. And before he was probably 30 feet from me when he said, "Excuse me, ma'am," and I turned around and
he said, "Excuse me, ma'am," and she thinks that he's a threat to her.
literally yelled at him, and I said, "Do not approach me." No male should ever approach a woman in a parking lot. No male should ever approach a woman in a parking lot. And if a male does approach you, you need to turn around and use the strongest voice that you can possibly use with them.
And this is why I did the Toxic Masculinity stream, because Norah agrees. If you live as a man, you get to experience profiling the same way racists profile black men in hoodies. They profile them as criminals. So racism and sexism do have comparisons, which is drawn by the same woman as well. So let's go back. So first, feminist myth is debunked. Let's move on to the next one. She thought he was hitting on her. The Lulu tier ideology. No, it's not about hitting on her, man. You don't understand. Do you remember beer or a man trend? Right? What was this about? It was simply about women saying that men are such demonic human beings, that they're such criminals, that they are such a threat to the society, that they would rather pick a beer because they're safer with a beer than a man, right? So this woman who's ranting about how man should not approach her, right? She is of the same mentality that if you're a man and I'm a woman alone, you shouldn't approach me because every man is a threat to me. Where else have you heard that? You hear that when black people get profiled as criminals. It's like, you're late in the night, and you're a black man wearing a hoodie, we're afraid of you. We're gonna avoid you. Right? This is why men feel lonely, because they cannot have the same normal experiences in life or conversations in life that women do. That's what I was trying to prove. And NAACP has written research after research about profiling, right? I think there's a lot of common factors there.
I think ये सच है, पैसे कमाने से इश्यूज आती है, क्योंकि अगर मेरे पास पैसे होंगे तो मैं अपने पति की बकवासें नहीं सहूंगी. मैं चाहूंगी कि मेरा पति मेरे लिए सपोर्ट सिस्टम बने.
Because a lot of times when women bring this argument, they simply say that women file 80% of the divorces, and they will ask him, why do they file 80% of the divorces? And they will simply say, well, because women were always being abused in marriages, and they were depended on men for money, so they weren't filing it earlier. But now that they can make their own money, they can get out easy. Now, this is what I would call a reductive thinking. So if you think women being able to file divorce means that they are being abused and allowed to go free due to financial independence, that means because men are not filing divorces, then they don't have the same independence that you do, according to your own reductive logic, right? Because otherwise we should also be able to walk free, but we can't. Because you exploit us in alimonies, in child support, in child custody. So what do I do when I have a woman badly behaving with me, when I'm being abused in a marriage?
चाहूंगी कि मेरा पति.
So what's the point of crying about patriarchy? Because essentially then according to your own logic it'd be matriarchy, right?
मेरे लिए सपोर्ट सिस्टम बने.
करवा चौथ और जो व्रत वगैरह जो आते हैं हमारे हमारे कल्चर वगैरह के अंदर, उसको पेट्रियार्की का प्रोडक्ट क्यों बताया जाता है, ये मैं जानना चाहता हूँ.
बट अगर आपको ये लगता है कि आप 10 जगह पे 10 लोगों के साथ सो के आओगे और आपको एक चाहिए वर्जिन लड़की क्योंकि उसकी ऑक्सीटोसिन की बैंडविड्थ खत्म हो जाएगी, पर मेरी तो टेस्टोस्टेरोन की बैंडविड्थ बहुत सही है, तो दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम. अगर घर में एक लड़का.
So let's see where the longer version is, if I can find that. High income women, alimony, gender pay gap. Okay, I don't see anything about body count. I'll just let it play.
होता है और एक लड़की होती है, तो एक sum of
I'll respond to that later.
अमाउंट होता है जो लड़के की एजुकेशन के लिए रखा जाता है, और एक सम ऑफ अमाउंट होता है जो लड़कियों की शादी के लिए रखा जाता है.
Courses. Dude, trust me. Citation 1, it is known. Citation 2, it is known. Citation 3, it is known. And citation 4, it is known. Footnote 1. This was once revealed to me in a dream.
How is it that women are more educated in India today, and she thinks that the funds are not saved for women's education when you're literally more educated in all levels of education? I will still wait for her to present me the longer version later on in the podcast so I can see if she has any sources at all.
आपको पेट्रियार्की हर रिलीजन में देखने को मिलेगा. स्पेशली एक रिलीजन है ऐसा जिसके अंदर आपको एक भयंकर लेवल पे दिखेगा कितना कंट्रोल किया जाता है वुमेन को. उसको कभी क्यों नहीं ये दिखाते हैं अपनी मूवीज के अंदर, अपने रील्स के अंदर? ये फेमिनिस्ट इसके ऊपर क्यों नहीं बात करती हैं?
क्योंकि एक लड़की के पास ऑप्शन है कि वो आपको छोड़ के जा सकती है, बट वो खुद रहना चाहती है बिकॉज यू आर दैट काइंड ऑफ अ पर्सन. यही तो शादी होना चाहिए ना, दैट टू पीपल आर चूजिंग टू स्टे विद ईच अदर. अगर उसमें से कोई भी एक पार्टनर को इसीलिए रह जाना होता है बिकॉज दे डोंट हैव अनदर ऑप्शन, और दे डोंट हैव अ सोर्स ऑफ इनकम, और दे डोंट नो हाउ टू सस्टेन देमसेल्व्स, तब तो वो शादी नहीं है ना. दैट इज.
Yeah, so I think where Shreyasi is confused is that there's a contradiction in her statement, right? That means that if men are not filing divorces, if they don't have the same freedom, they're being pushed to live in a relationship with you where they're not happy. So the same compliment and support that you want, why don't you extend the same compliment and support to men? Why don't you allow us to get away with divorces without paying anything? And if we choose to stay, then that automatically means that we choose you. Versus we walk away, that means that you're being abusive.
Something that you are just compromising on. Obviously India के अंदर है patriarchy, but you can't link patriarchy to religion or god, goddesses. उसके साथ आप link नहीं कर सकते हो because I don't think any religion particularly teaches people कि आप किसी को dominate करो या कुछ गलत करो. There are people जो ये start करते हैं, और इसके पीछे भी I don't think it was a internalized planning done by men कि ठीक है चलो हम let's fight it with the women of the country. ऐसा कुछ नहीं था. The world was a different there was a different time. और अगर कुछ पहले की आप बात लोगे तो there were not much facilities for women, there were not much advantages, जो भी basic rights जो होते हैं वही नहीं था. अब हाँ, इसमें there are a group of men जो थे who thought that it's okay.
What is this, story time?
Okay.
This is just a story without any sources. This guy is a simple loser. Look, I don't want to talk negatively about the guy because I don't know him, but I will say this. I did propose that he do a debate or a discussion with me. And he didn't respond. I think it's been 4 or 5 days I wrote him that email. So I don't understand why people want to dodge me. Because this is just like an echo chamber. If you want to talk about men's rights, maybe invite somebody who's well equipped in the knowledge,
They don't have right, and that's fine. उनका ऐसा नहीं था कि हमें राइट्स देना नहीं है. उनका ऐसा था कि हाँ नहीं है, चलो सही है, यही तो सही है. Why do they need right? So, because society is male dominated. अब इसमें सिर्फ लड़कों की गलती है ऐसा नहीं है. There are many women of the family who thinks that it's okay अगर the main head of the family
This is just story. When can I get the sources?
Family is a male figure and they themselves being women, they feel it's okay to belittle some other women कि ठीक है उनको कुछ गलत बोल दो चलेगा वो लड़की है वो सुनेंगे. So that is why it's a male dominated society and obviously patriarchy exist करते हैं इंडिया में ही exist करते हैं. अभी भी our society is a male dominated society. अभी भी अगर आप देखोगे मेरी शादी हो जाएगी तो मेरे पापा का नाम हटके वहां पे हस्बैंड का नाम आ जाएगा.
Okay. I think we should make a chart. Right, chat, we will make a chart. Let's go to draw.io. These are rights feminists want. Okay. And these are all the rights Meninists want. Okay. This is what feminists want today. They want last name in marriage. What do men's rights activists want? Okay. Here's what we want. Right to report domestic violence. So, chat. This is the validity of feminists versus meninists. Patriarchy wants women to have last name in marriage, whereas meninists want the right to report domestic violence. Okay, this is how valid the feminist movement is.
But अगर एक लड़की की शादी होती है तो उसका पार्टनर का नाम नहीं आता है, उसका पापा का नाम ही रहता है. तो क्या मेरा पार्टनर मेरे पापा की जगह ले लेगा? ऐसा नहीं है ना. My papa should be my important. वो लड़की हो लड़का हो, पापा तो पापा ही होता है.
So she wants her father's name to be carried forward. Chat, think about this. This woman is trying to escape patriarchy A by reinforcing patriarchy B. She doesn't want to have the name of her husband because he's a man, but she wants to have a last name of her father, which is also a man. What? How does that work? Lady, are you okay?
भी होगा तो लेट आएगा नाम के पीछे, बट मेरे पापा का कुछ भी हो ना हो हस्बैंड आ जाता है. अब ये स्टार्ट क्यों हुआ था?
Sweetie, your father's name is also taken by your mother, right? So at the end of the day, if you're advocating that women should carry a man's name, not a husband but the father's, what difference does it make? Because essentially you're still taking a man's last name.
Because पहले husband used to.
Bro, use Excel. I think Excel is so bad. I think for charts, I don't know, Excel. Think about it. Patriarchy exists after marriage. I'll have to take my husband's name. The bear has also fled from the forest. The bear doesn't want the women. Elder women are solution to these women. I think elder women are the ones that are creating these women. Okay, these are the values that are raising them on. So I don't know how clean are elder women. Living away from in-laws because she left her parents. Husband is second papa after a. This is why they call him daddy. You know. Now you know if you didn't know.
To be the one who would take care. So guardian जैसा scene था, ऐसा etc etc etc. Now I think जो था वो था. Let's not say कि नहीं वो कुछ था ही नहीं सब सही था. ऐसा नहीं है. था problem थे अभी भी है. But we can take time and reform with time. कि ठीक है.
First of all,
पहले.
This is her justification of why women carry men's name.
Husband का कुछ भी हो ना हो, husband आ जाता है. अब ये start क्यों हुआ था? Because पहले husband used to be the one who would take care. So guardian जैसा scene था, ऐसा etc etc etc.
Sources. Dude, trust me. Citation 1, it is known. Citation 2, it is known. Citation 3, it is known. And citation 4, it is known. Footnote 1. This was once revealed to me in a dream.
The real reason, okay, I will make up a reason that will make more sense than her. The real reason in specific, as an example, is that when men were working outside, we had traditional gender roles. They were the ones that were creating the businesses. They were usually named after a family name. Okay, so for example, JP Morgan. Okay, now JP Morgan was a railway company before it was a bank. And usually businesses were named like that, like Ford company, which is a car company, is named after John Ford, right? So it's all the businesses are named in the last name, which is a family name. So why is it that we were using men's name as a family name? Because it was only the men who were creating the businesses, right? So why would we want our businesses to be identified by women's name when it is the men who are contributing to raising a business? Why would we give it a woman's name? Isn't it my contribution? Shouldn't I get the reward? What? women like Tracy here should really focus a little bit more on research and facts rather than just imagining things in their head. So I think that counts as a second goal. Okay, this is the second feminist theory that just got debunked. The count is already up to 2. You should go for mother surname. I mean, look, you're just trying to create unnecessary conflict. When you have children, are you really going to fight about whose name are they going to carry, the woman's name or a husband's name? And so you're just creating more and more tension and conflicts. So I think you should create a new system where there is a mutual agreement about whose name should be taken forward, right? If you don't want them to take men's name forward, then first you fight. Forget about marriage. First you do the fighting and come upon a mutual agreement whose name should children carry. Okay, I don't know what the right answer to that is, Chad. Chad, what is the right answer to that? The real reason is English coverture laws and debt management. Professor talked about this, but this Baat Kar host is a simp. Yeah, so there was a time where men were responsible for women's debt as well. So yeah, there are multiple rational, reasonable explanations to why men's name is used for families, but Tracy is not going to look at any of them. She's just going to make shit up.
Now I think जो था वो था. Let's not say कि नहीं वो कुछ था ही नहीं, सब सही था. ऐसा नहीं है. था, problem थे, अभी भी है. But we can take time and reform with time. कि ठीक है, अभी there are women who are doing stuff, there are women who are working, who are doing job, there are women who are earning more than their partners, and that's absolutely fine. But the problem is अगर कोई ऐसे भी कोई शादी होता है जहाँ पे द मैन इज कम्प्लीटली फाइन, उन्हें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है कि कुछ भी सोसाइटी के प्रेशर से उसे कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, वो बहुत चल रहा है अपने वाइफ के साथ. बट कुछ लोग हैं सोसाइटी में जिनको प्रॉब्लम है, कह रहे तूने ऐसे कैसे कर दिया, तू मर्द है, तूने ये कैसे कर दिया. सो सी दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम, दैट मेन इज नॉट द प्रॉब्लम, बट देयर इज अ सोसाइटल माइंडसेट व्हिच इज लाइक कि लड़कियां ये करेंगी, लड़के ये करेंगे, लड़कियां ये नहीं कर सकती, लड़के ये नहीं कर सकते. And that is the problem. So I can't deny कि नहीं पेट्रियार्की तो नहीं है, पेट्रियार्की है. But the thing is पेट्रियार्की को
chat. That was her example of patriarchy? What? That's it? What? This is it? You talk about this big conspiracy theory of patriarchy and the entire narrative sits on a shallow premise of who gets to take whose name? That's it? These are okay, you know what? Let's lower it down. Okay, let's insert a new level here. This is patriarchy. I will declare my enemy as feminism because feminism is doing a really bad job. Really bad job. Okay, so rights feminists want protection from patriarchy. Rights Meninists want, I'll name it, protection from feminism. Okay, so like this is basically the major block. Okay, that is the source of the problem, and underneath that is last name. Women want last name in marriage, and I want right to report domestic violence. Okay, so who's more valid? I don't know. You decide it. Big bro, stop spreading hate towards women, no matter what respect. If you're being sarcastic or not, but how could I possibly be spreading hate against women by asking for my rights?
और ये भी सुनने को मिलता है शिरोशी मुझे कि जो पैट्रियार्की है ना, उसने ठीक है फीमेल को कंट्रोल करके रखा, ठीक है वो विलन है, लेकिन
again what's the source?
उसने मैन को भी उतना ही हार्म पहुंचाया है. तो इसके बारे में थोड़ा बताओ कि लाइक वो कैसे मैन को हार्म पहुंचा रही है.
Patriarchy harms men too.
जैसे मैंने अभी एग्जांपल में बताया था, तो रिसेंटली मैंने एक वीडियो देखी है, तो वहां पे द गर्ल इज वो राजकुमार या क्या नाम है उस बंदा, हाँ राजकुमार राव, हाँ. उन्होंने भी जब शादी करी थी तो उनकी बीवी ने क्या किया था, सिंदूर से एक टीका उनके सर पे ऐसे लगा दिया था. एंड द सेम अनदर कपल डेड दैट. ये ह्यूमंस ऑफ बॉम्बे करके एक इंस्टाग्राम पेज है, वहां पे दे मेड अ स्टोरी दैट बोथ द कपल आर सो ओपन माइंडेड, द हस्बैंड इज सच अ नाइस गाय कि उन्हें लगा कि ठीक है अगर इफ माय वाइफ वांट्स टू डू दैट इट्स कंप्लीटली फाइन एंड दे आर हैप्पी, द हस्बैंड एंड द वाइफ. बट कमेंट सेक्शन में एवरीवन इज बैशिंग द गर्ल कि अरे आपने लड़के से ऐसा कैसे करवा लिया, एंड इंक्लूडिंग गर्ल्स. इट्स नॉट दैट ओनली द मेन आर बैशिंग, देयर आर फ्यू गर्ल्स आल्सो हु आर बैशिंग. नाउ दैट इज व्हाट पेट्रियार्की डज. पेट्रियार्की सेट्स जेंडर रूल्स कि अगर ये लड़की है तो इन्हें ये काम करना है, और अगर ये लड़के हैं तो आप ये काम करोगे.
If this is an example of patriarchy, then what is this? Woman divides the internet after video of her proposing boyfriend goes viral. Okay, so usually men humiliate themselves like this, bending over in front of women to propose them, right? And becoming their retirement plan. So what happens when women do the same thing. They kneel in front of men. Okay, so let's take a look at the comment section here. I'm getting secondhand embarrassment watching this. A user by the name Reid, probably a woman, I guess. Rosie Diaz, girl, get up and stop embarrassing us all. Arzi is shaming the man. You might as well wear a woman's dress, okay? How do I unsee this nonsense? May this love never find me. Clean the entire house with a Q-tip before I did that. Did he get his nails done too? The comment section gives me hope in humanity because they're hating on the couple. I would actually rather die single with 100 cats than to bend in front of a man. Okay, so Shreyasi, let me ask you a question. If a man wearing a sindoor invites hate comments, then a woman proposing to a man also invites hate comments. But if you think the former, which is that man wearing a sindoor getting a hate comments, proves patriarchy, then is it matriarchy when women propose to men and they get hate? Does it mean that matriarchy is bad for women too? So I think the larger question, chat, that this woman needs to answer is, can patriarchy and matriarchy exist at the same time? Because whatever example that she's giving, the exact opposite of that exists in the same reality. Of course, dude, we should respect women no matter what we respect women. Women are goddess. If women are goddess, please ask him to go to heaven and leave us alone. Women but never trust them. At the end, Darwin gonna win. Look, I don't know what you mean by Darwin gonna win, but all I want to say about this patriarchy theory is that if women are going to come up with this patriarchy theory, they're going to need a lot of content to justify it, right? Your examples cannot be that shallow. It's like you're trying to give me an empty box, wrapped into a gift paper, which looks like a valuable item, but when I open it, it's completely empty. Your idea of patriarchy is carrying forward the names or men wearing a sindoor, right? So, okay, so let's go back to the chart again. Is this your second request? Which is that men should wear sindoor. This is what feminists want, chat. This is their second demand, okay? My second demand is I want right to report sexual violence. Let me know who is looking valid so far. 3 myths debunked so far. Right to get alimony from women? Yes. Please count me in.
And from a very early age, you start questioning them कि आप लड़कियों की तरह ये कर रहे हो. So suppose they are running very slow and you say तू लड़कियों की तरह दौड़ रहा है. That means हाँ भाग रहा है exactly. तो you are setting that narration in their head, right? कि girls run slower than men. तो अगर आप weak हो तो आप एक लड़की हो. And as a man, it's not.
Yeah, but like, again, running is based on a use case. Why would you intentionally want somebody to run slower? Provided that a running is justified for a reason, they would want to run as fast as possible, right? Depending on the use case, of course. So you want men to run slower just so they can act like women. Why? Just so they can prove a point. What are you talking about?
Not every man, दुनिया के सारे मर्द को ऐसे हल्क होने की जरूरत नहीं है. Men can be.
No, but why would I intentionally run slower if I'm trying to get to a place fast? Or if I'm not trying to get to a place fast, why would I run at all? I can just walk.
Men can be caring. Men.
What are these stories?
Can be parenting, like nurturing nature also.
ओए मैं तो थक गया इसकी बातें सुन के. अब मैं सो रहा हूँ. जरूरत पड़े तो भी मुझे मत उठाना. Good night.
Right to get 50% property from women's family? Yeah, me too. Please count me in all of these objectives. I'm in.
There is a.
Can you also talk about child custody? I want that too, and child support as well. Hello, Mick bro. And I'm late today. What's the topic today? And last night, Professor Life was blocked. Yeah, I think he had a copyright strike. I think it's been released now. Right to have child of adultery with women? Yes. Chat. Her third example of patriarchy is that she wants men to run like women. This is what feminists want, chat. Wants men to run like women. Okay. In return, what do Meninists want? Equal child custody. This is what it's looking like so far. These are all the rights that feminists want under the garb of patriarchy. Last name in marriage, men should wear sindoor. She wants men to run like women. And what we want is right to remote domestic violence, sexual violence, and equal child custody. Okay, let's go back. Wonderful.
So abhi bhi agar, if you are a man, and suppose you earn a bit lower than your wife and you are completely fine with it, but कोई ना कोई तो दोस्त होगा जो एक जोक के तरीके से कहेगा कि अरे तेरा तू तो अपने बीवी के पैसे पे खाता है.
How many of you think that she has watched Drew Ratti's video on Atul Sabash and she has picked up all of her points from there, because this point was made by him in the video that people laugh at men if they make less income than women. But it's actually the women that divorce men if they make less money than them. This is actually a fear of men, which comes from the insecurity that women will and take a lot of money in alimonies, take their children away. So it's not about shaming and ego. It's more about safety. So let me see if I can find that study again. Females give more weight to earnings of a prospective partners than males do. Yeah, so Shreyasi, you try to explain to me, if females give more weightage to a man's earning, how is it that you can blame men and the society?
But कोई ना कोई तो दोस्त होगा जो एक जोक के तरीके से कहेगा कि अरे तेरा तू तो अपने बीवी के पैसे भी खाता है ना?
Yeah, but Shreyasi, it's the females that give more weightage to the earnings of a man. The United Nations over the last 15 years has repeatedly declared that Norway is the most gender-equal society in the world. Substantial gender differences in pay and employment patterns remain. We have outlined theoretical foundations for the existence of hypergamy, and we have presented overwhelming empirical evidence that hypergamy is an important feature of mating patterns in Norway. Households are systemically formed such that man on average has the highest rank within the gender-specific distribution of earnings potential. And men with very poor earning prospects have a high probability of staying unmatched. Okay, so Shreyasi, why don't you
show Dick some respect?
Why don't you take the blame for something that you're at fault for? Hello, mate. Have you seen the Chinese McDowitz? That's next week. There was another report stating that more is the income gap, more stable is the marriage. Less income gap means that women would leave. Yeah, that's true. Let me see if I can find that part, but it's true. High divorce risk, not only in a traditional setup, but also in a society that is organized on the principle of gender equality. I think this looks like it's written by a feminist, but you can take the word from the horse's mouth. Lack of economically attractive men to blame for decline in marriage rates, studies suggest. Economically attractive men are to blame for decline in marriage. Gee, wonder why, Roof, men are stressed. Women in the US, the more the wife earns, the more is the risk of divorce. This is what this article proves. It's a study, right? Husbands with much higher incomes than their wives have a lower chance of divorce. And this graph basically says the lower their income compared to their wife, the higher the risk of divorce. However, the laughable thing is this. Another study found that even an unexpected windfall, winning the lottery, leads to greater chance of divorce for female winners than lower chance of divorce for male winners. So I've covered this many times, right? But again, somebody like Shreyasi would not want to do the research. She just doesn't want to do the research. She wants to claim that men having to make more money, the pressure comes from patriarchy, comes from society, comes from other men shaming them. But in reality, all the studies indicate that it's the women's fault. Is that they practice the hypergamy, they shame the men, they break away from the marriages when they're making more money than men. And even in lottery cases where they win a jackpot, they end up leaving the men. Right? So how is it that you end up blaming us for something that you're guilty of? How does that even make sense? I think we have to update the goal. This is like the fourth myth that just got debunked. And we are only 9 minutes in a 1 hour discussion. And she has already peddled 4 lies.
बस मैं ये भी देखता हूँ कि ऐसे डिफेंड करते हैं कि पैट्रियार्की जो है ना वो मेल डोमिनेटेड तो है, मतलब ठीक है मेल कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं, बट नुकसान हमें पहुंचाया गया है. जैसे
how are men controlling it? See, this is why most people are calling him a simp in the chat. How are men controlling the society given that women have the right to vote and they make up for 50% of the voters? So you're taking the calls about what policies should be enacted in the society. And given that we have 52 laws that favor women but none for men, how is it that men are dominating and controlling the society?
कि अगर आप वार का देखो, आप जो रशिया यूक्रेन का वार हुआ था, तो आपने सुना था कि
how is this even related to patriarchy? Exactly.
सारे जो मेल थे वो वहां टिक गए, रुक गए लड़ने के लिए, और सारी फीमेल्स को बोला भाई बाहर जाओ, आप निकल जाओ. ठीक है, तो वही मैं बोलता हूं कि अगर पैट्रियार्की हमारे लिए ही होती तो सबसे पहले हम भगते, मतलब मेल भगते वहां से, पर मेल को वहां रुकना पड़ा. हाँ, तो
नहीं, सी द पॉइंट इज पेट्रियार्की का मतलब वो नहीं है कि मेल आर डोमिनेटिंग पेट्रियार्की. पेट्रियार्की मींस कि एक सोसाइटी जहां पे यू कंसीडर मेल टू बी सुपीरियर देन वुमेन. नाउ ये एक लड़की की सोच भी हो सकती है, एक लड़के की सोच भी हो सकती है.
How is it superior if isn't it a vulnerability if you're more exploitable for your physical strength to be disposed in wars and have to become a human shield or a weapon of war that has to absorb violence? is it really a place of superiority? Because if you went to a slave auction, that's really how they were sold. Hey, this one is built better, so he will be able to perform better, right? So that's why he should be sold into slavery and be used on the plantation. So if men being disposed in wars because they have physical attributes that can be exploited for the purposes of violence is a superiority, then slaves who were sold into a slave trade to work in a plantation because they were built stronger to do more work were also superior, as per your logic then. How does that work? What is the math on this? This was a guy who shat in his pant when his life, someone asked him to invite you on. Is this the guy who refused it? Because he didn't reply to my message either. I proposed that as well, and he declined it. No, I mean, he didn't decline it. He just ignored it. He just didn't respond. Hey, Mick, it will be wrong to say Ravi as a simp. Rather, he's a host who tries to remain silent on the topics new to him and respect the guest. Well, okay, that's fine. But why didn't he accept my proposal for a discussion or a debate, whatever he was interested in? Look, I've written this 4 days ago, all right? So I was like, after watching your recent video, which is like this one right here, I realized that you're a free thinker that relies a lot on scientific data and critical thinking rather than taking people for their word. So I think it'd be an interesting conversation because I would like to challenge your views both scientifically and logically. And blah, blah, blah. I just typed some things right here. So I was like, let's talk it out. Please feel free to shoot me an email if you're interested. Our discussions can involve men's rights, red pill, and feminism. I received no response. Now, you try to explain to me, chat, how is it that he's willing to work with this woman who's a feminist? This is the kind of number she pulls. Okay, this is her YouTube. 110 views, 72 views, 204 views, 283 views. So he's willing to work with somebody who's performing less, who's able to sell the content less. He's willing to invite somebody like that on the podcast, right? But he's not willing to invite me. Because, I mean, because like sometimes I think people don't invite me because of it being a smaller channel. But I'm clearly doing better views than her, okay? Like, I'm doing better sales. So what could be the reason? What could possibly be the reason that somebody wouldn't want to have me on their show, given that they invite small creators like this?
Hello guys, I hope you all are doing.
So I don't know, you can draw your own conclusion. He looks like simp to me and I do not think he will be able to answer your question. I mean, he did it. I saw his live channel and you can see here that he hosts debates. So like you can see right here, Lazy's live versus Vigyan Darshan live debate or discussion. This is on theism versus atheism. So if he can host debates like that, he can host debates on feminists versus men's rights too. And if he doesn't want to do a debate, he can at least have a discussion, which I think will be a lot more factual than the feminists that he's inviting, you know, because at least we give sources that they don't.
And अभी भी there are army में ऐसे बहुत सारे रोल्स हैं जहाँ पे only men को they don't and मैंने एक पॉडकास्ट पे भी सुना था एक आर्मी ऑफिशियल ने ये बताया था that see you can't differentiate between the running rate or body physical abilities in army, right? तो अगर कोई ऐसा लड़की है या फिर वुमन है जो सेम फिजिकली केपेबल हो सकता है एक मर्द का, तो हमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. The problem is there is a physical issue and problem, और ये एक फैक्ट है. When see you can't differentiate between the running rate or body physical abilities in army, right? तो अगर कोई ऐसा लड़की है या फिर वुमन है जो सेम फिजिकली केपेबल हो सकता है एक मर्द का, तो हमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. The problem.
But army does not recruit women on the same standards as men. I bet she never looked it up even before she made this up. Like, what do you really think, Shrosi? Are the physical test requirements for women and men equal in the army? Yes, that simp Vokros blocked me. I challenged him to defend the MGTOW position. Oh, he blocked you? Damn. We can do a reaction next weekend. I don't know why he blocked you. I also asked him for a debate. He didn't accept it either. I will not say anything more, but yeah. He just didn't accept it. Okay. So this would be probably the fifth myth I'm about to debunk, okay? So, okay, let's look at what are the physical standards for men and women in the army. Join Indian Army, Government of India, okay? Here's the physical fitness test requirement. Pay attention, chat. The ranking system is as follows. 1.6 kilometer run for all categories. Okay, so men are given 5 minutes 30 seconds to run 1.6 kilometers to get 60 marks. Okay, now let's take a look at how much time women are given to run the same distance. Okay, we'll scroll down here. Women, 1.6 kilometer run, they're given 7 minutes and 30 seconds for the same 60 marks. Okay, go back up. Then in group 2, they're given 5 minutes 31 seconds to 5 minutes to 45 seconds, 48 marks. Women are given 8 minutes for 48 marks to run 1.6 kilometers. Okay, now there are additional exercises for men, like for example pull-ups, 10 and above, 40 marks, 9, 8, 7, 6. They have to do balance, they have to do 9-foot ditch. So all of these pull-ups and balance are completely missing in women's requirement. They just aren't there. Now you can look at, for example, this Agniveer. Here's the, yeah, it's the same thing. Indian Army female Agniveer physical fitness standards, 1.6 kilometers, 7 minutes 30 seconds. And for men, 5 minutes 30 seconds for men, 7 minutes 30 seconds for women. So Army does not recruit women on the same standards as men. That is a myth, which I have just debunked. But feminists want to believe that because their ego hurts to admit that in some areas women are more performative than men are more performative than women are. Way of samurai lol Pakistani soldiers will win first time in war with India. Then I don't know what you're talking about. Can you imagine what will happen if women protect us from these Pakistani soldiers? I'm of the opinion that they should. Because why would I want men to lose their lives? Let her go to the border. She talks a lot. Let her run a little bit of her hands and feet and the guns. We will sit safely at the comfort of our home and watch the TV. And I tell you what, we will actually spread media narratives that increase the conflict. So more women have to be disposed in war and more of them die. So please go to the army if you really want to. Because this is essentially what women do to us. They want to participate in the voting voter base, right? They want to be 50% voters. So they vote for a lot of things, including foreign policy, which creates wars. They want to participate in media. They want to be the writers. All the things that contribute to conflict, but they don't want to fight the conflict. Mikbai, I was abusing a girl in this live chat and he put me on timeout. Why should I talk nicely to inferior creature? I did not put you on timeout, and there is no other mod in here. Who put you on timeout? How? Where's that girl who's physical capable like men? Mikbai, I was abusing in Vokros. Oh, you're saying Vokros put you on timeout. Okay. And he put me on timeout. Why should I talk nicely to an inferior creature? Look, I don't think I would want to adopt that language. I don't think they're inferior creature. It really depends on what you consider inferiority as. Probably in physical attributes, they're inferior, but that also depends on the context. But if she was being toxic, then you have a right to be toxic back. That's all I'll say. Pakistan will win first time if women in army in India. I have a proposal. I think because men are more vulnerable to be disposed by all countries in a war, we should have universal treaties where every country should be invited to sign a treaty, just like Paris Climate Change Agreement. We will ask everyone to sign Paris Protection of Men in War Agreement. And every country will have to swear that they will cut down their male military by 50%. And they can compensate for the lack of that 50% by either recruiting women, by enforcing mandatory conscription for them, or they can have robots. Okay? Now, that would mean that everybody would have to adhere to the code of conduct. Meaning even the Pakistan, if they're waging war on us, or Afghanistan, they would also have to abide by the rules and have 50% women. Well, let's just say a country doesn't comply because they just can, right? They don't all have to comply. Well, then if you don't comply, then there should be sanctions by the rest of the world. Trade sanctions. You cannot operate in trade. We will cancel your, we will apply high tariffs. Things like that. Anyway, so we're on five myths debunked? Okay. So, army doesn't recruit women on the same standards as men, simply because army is recruiting women because women are like status symbol, right, chat? It's like, can somebody answer to me? Can somebody answer to me, chat? Chat, if you have a job which requires, oversimplification, which requires 50 push-ups, right? Then why would you make men do more push-ups if the qualification criteria is only 50? Let's say you were giving a test, okay? And you needed 33 marks to pass, right? Why would they set higher passing marks for one caste, one gender, one race? If the passing marks are 33, then it means it's 33 for everybody, right? But the problem with army is that there is a X criteria for the job to be done. Let's say that is 100 push-ups, okay? But they want to drop that standard for women because they're not recruiting women for the job. Because job requires 100 push-ups, which women can't do. They're recruiting women as a status symbol to look for validation from the society that we have women here. So they give us like a status symbol to be validated. So women are freeloaders in army. Where are women not freeloaders today? Have you seen the Forbes richest list? Forbes top 10 richest women. And Forbes top 10 richest men. Richest women in the world, 2024. Let's first take a look at men. Top 10 richest people in the world. Okay. Elon Musk, because he founded Tesla, SpaceX, X. Jeff Bezos, because he founded Amazon, Blue Origin. Mark Zuckerberg, Meta Platforms. Larry Ellison, Oracle Corporation. Bernard Arnault, LVMH family. Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway. So self-made man. Okay. Here are the top 10 richest women in the world. Abigail Johnson, the chief of mutual fund giant, 4.9 trillion in managed assets, and was founded by her grandfather. Talk about freeloading. Okay. Grandfather's wealth. That's how she became the top 10 richest women. Okay, let's look at the 9th one. Gina Reinhardt. She remains the wealthiest person in Australia. The Australian magnate chairs mining and agriculture company Hancock Prospecting Group. She inherited the business from her father. Okay, talk about freeloading here. Let's go to the top 5. Oh, look guys, look. Mackenzie Scott. Scott awarded $640 million to 360 blah, blah, blah. Her lifetime giving has climbed to a total of blah 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 blah. The billionaire philanthropist got 4% of Amazon following her 2019 divorce from Jeff Bezos. Talk about freeloading. Let's look at the top richest women, okay? Francois Betancourt Myers and family. The granddaughter of L'Oreal founder and heir to the family fortune is the world's richest woman for the 4th consecutive year. Talk about freeloading. Under 15 boys defeated Australian female national football team by 15-0. Okay, chat, look at that. Chat. 15-year-old boys defeated an Australian female national football team by 15-0, but never demanded equal or better pay till they. You know, I might actually have that.
Your team about to go down in North Carolina. Let's go! USA! USA!
Again, you got to be careful. There's a shot and keeper. Nice spin move here by Lloyd. Another shot and a player's running off of him. It's a big ask, but well, there's Trundle able to turn. Trundle able to keep it with the left, and Trundle
so far so good in this game.
Trundle again diving, and this Murkoff trying to move around, and that's going to be.
It's 9-0, Chad. 9-0.
Murkoff takes that.
Chad, they are playing against a retired football team of men versus women's current USA team.
That shot with the and swinging to make that perfect contact. There's a turnover. Jarvis, there it is.
It is 12-0.
12-0. Wrexham defeats the U.S. women.
It's message 1, 2, your team about to go down!
So much for female ego. I mean, why don't women just admit that there are some things men are better at? Okay?
ना पता है what feminism is, तो उसके हिसाब से we don't say that we are as physically strong as men. We are not. We have different physical advantages, and men have different physical.
Okay, see, now she's admitting it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
और that is very much okay. उससे problem नहीं है. Problem आती है कि अगर उसके basis पे आप discrimination करोगे.
Yeah, but sure, see, if you have a problem with discrimination based on physical attributes, then why are you giving an example of the army? Because army is dropping the standards for you based on your physical attributes.
या फिर उसके basis पे.
So that would be an example of matriarchy then, as per your logic.
आप हमें equal opportunities नहीं दोगे. That's why the problem.
How is there an equal opportunities if you're having to do less than men and getting the same pay?
The problem is giving opportunity to us. और कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. हम ये नहीं बोल रहे कि हम भी we also want to be as same weight as you, as same height as you. We want to beat people out. हमें भी एकदम
No, but why aren't okay? You know what? I've said enough. I'm just getting tired of this shit. So let's move on.
करना जो आप कर लो. That is not what feminism is. और मैंने इस पे एक वीडियो भी बनाया था क्योंकि there are
just do the same work and get the same pay. Period.
Feminist pages on
do the same test that men do for army.
Instagram जो ऐसे बात करता है कि this time we need to teach the men lesson, and that's the thing. Feminism is not that girls should be villain. No, we want girls to be the main character of their own story. जो नहीं होता था. हमेशा they used to be the side character.
Are you the main character of your own story, or are you the main character of the entire world? Okay. Feminism meaning the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of the sex. Okay. Keep in mind, it says advocacy of women's rights only. It doesn't say men's rights. Advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of sexes. Okay, where is paint right now? Let's visualize this for a second. These are male dominated jobs specifically. Okay, so women are less here. I'll make it even smaller. Okay, because women like to cry victims so much. You know, I'll give it to them. Okay, these are female dominated jobs. You can call it rights. Okay, you can even call it rights. Okay, so we do know women have 52 laws in their favor. Okay, so that would be female dominated area. Okay, so like domestic violence laws or sexual violence law, child custody laws, child support laws, outrage of modesty laws, posh, blah 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 blah. Okay, that's all female dominated. Jobs wise, that would be clerical, HR, administrative, healthcare, nursing, blah 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 blah. Right? There are plenty of jobs that women dominate, and then there are plenty of jobs that men dominate, like STEM, right? Army, military, sports, blah 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 blah. Okay, so first let's color this black. Okay, these are male dominated. These are female dominated. So what is the feminist definition here? It says the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of the sexes. Okay, so visualization wise, what that would mean is that women are lower here. So it would advocate for women's rights on the basis of equality, meaning women's rights in this area where they're lower on the basis of equality, meaning matching it up, right? So let's do that. Let's do what women are asking us to do. Okay, feminism is asking us to do. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so we brought this up like this. Equality. Okay, now let's draw an arrow. So boom, is this equality? As you can clearly see that you have increased the gender gap, because before there were male dominated fields and female dominated fields, and now there's only a female dominated field where men are less, whereas women have equality. This is exactly what your definition of feminism is: the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of sexes. So advocacy of this area on the basis of equality means ignorance of this area on the basis of equality, which means men have less equality than women.
That's the thing. Feminism is not that girls should be villain. No. We want girls to be the main character of their own story.
Yeah, but you just became the main character of the entire story. You're just the center here. It's all about you, because you just ignored this as per the very definition of feminism. Here, I tell you what, take one more L, and this goes to 6. Okay, now let's go back to it. Mick bro, are women better than men in swimming and gymnastics? Swimming, no. Gymnastics, maybe. Asan in comments said that I want to confirm. Please tell if you can, bro. Okay, let's see. Are women faster than men in swimming? It says that in certain age groups they're faster. Those age groups are younger than 10 years and older than 75 to 80 years. Anything between 11 and 74, men are faster. And what was the other one? Gymnastics. Are women better than men in gymnastics? Show that in the initial evaluation, the level of execution of cartwheel and handstand skills is sufficient in both genders. However, there are significant differences in favor of girls in some stages that require greater flexibility and posture control. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, so the first study that I opened supports that to some extent. Brother, I heard a female cyclist defeated 200 men. What, really? In one cycle race in 2023 to 2024? But I don't think women can beat men in cycling. That might have been an isolated case, but that's good. Exceptional case, and she was good cyclist. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. The video from this comedian Kaviraj Singh's "Are Women Becoming Men?" funny video, he nailed it. I actually saw that too, and I think it's really funny. But yeah, so let's finish this. Chat, I don't think there's a point in chat. I don't think there's a point in reacting to this whole thing. I wish I had timestamps of everywhere she had a myth and I could just go to that, because it's very exhausting to watch the entire thing, man.
ओए मैं तो थक गया इसकी बातें सुन के। अब मैं सो रहा हूँ। जरूरत पड़े तो भी मुझे मत उठाना। Good night.
Bharat, tell video name to Mick Bro on YouTube channel. He will give reaction. We gave the reaction on Professor's live stream last week. Yeah, we already did that, Gaurav. Have you seen a funny video called Questions Women Have for Indian Men? This one?
How does it feel to be this?
Asan, are you talking about this? Let me know. And okay, Chad doesn't believe that a female cyclist can beat 200 men. Okay, female cyclist beats 200 men. Is that true? You know, Kalbinger beats 200 men to become the first female winner of transcontinental race. German athlete Fiona Kolbinger has become the first woman to win the okay, the 24-year-old cancer. Okay. Okay. Looks like it's true, actually. Yeah, this article says that this is true. She beat 265 riders, including more than 200 men. Yeah, it looks like it's true. Chad, it is true. Yeah, I mean, it can happen. What is a transcontinental race? Continental race. I hope it's not one of those things which Mr. Beast does. You know what Mr. Beast does? Is that he will invite women who are trained athletes, right? Who have been on survival shows before, like on Fear Factor and stuff. He will invite them on his challenge, men versus women challenge, and men are just average Joes. They're just regular Joes with no physical fitness training, right? No survival skills, and he'll put them against each other, and women will win, and then he will claim women are better than men. Yeah, but you selected them on different standards. If you compared apples to apples and oranges to oranges, you will find that men will come on top every time. So if you pick the men who are athletic in nature, who do physical fitness and have been on survival shows, just as the women you chose, they will win. Take it easy, brothers. Exceptions happen. Jasiki Rani was also an exception. Yeah, they happen. W. Video name questions women have for Indian men. Bro, this is... Oh, okay. Okay. This is another one. There you go. Questions women have for Indian men, answered by an Indian man. The content is... Okay.
There's a video that's been doing the rounds on the internet since last week. It's titled Questions Women Have for Indian. Right into it.
Why do you stare?
Staring is an action that is not confined to men. Both men and women stare.
7-year-old.
You pee with a hard on? Mama, तुम इतना घूरता काहे को है रे? ऐसा ऐसा करका आँखा बनाकर? Why do you stare?
Why don't you change your underwear more often? Like, জলের সাথে দুশ্মনী আছে?
Why do you care? Why do you care about my underwear?
Just chill out, calm your tits, okay? Hockey के साथ इतना step brotherly
Yo, no wonder Kusha made a cameo in this.
treatment क्यों? What's with the aggression, man? Stop overcompensating, na? Chill the hell out.
What's with the beard?
Like, it's our choice. What's it to you?
Show dick some respect.
Trim it at least, you know, if you're not gonna go.
Okay, you trim your pubes and you go bald on your head and take off your makeup and then wear proper clothes and then you can talk to us. How about that, huh?
Show dick some respect.
Clean shaving, although that's something you should try.
Why am I a Diane, Jurel, bitch, whore, slut?
Because you look like one. I mean, just look at you. I mean, it's just your face. I mean, it's nothing against you. It's just that you look like that sometimes, you know.
Who wear makeup? I mean, what's your problem? And the man bun. Oh my god, if you're still doing it.
I mean, chat, if you wear a Halloween costume, pretending to be somebody else, right? Then people will recognize you as that character. So I don't know what she's talking about, Diane Chudales, but if she wears a certain lipstick that is in common with Diane Chudales, first of all, I've never seen a man say that, but I'm just playing along with her assumption, right? Who knows how she was dressed? Maybe she really dressed like a clown. Maybe she really dressed like a Chudale. And she had everything in common with that character. So no wonder people recognize the similarities.
Darling, you gotta go back like 10 years.
भाइयों, ये mansplaining माँ के पेट से सीख कर आए हो कि वक्त ने किया कोई हंसी से तब?
भाई साहब,
And what are you doing exactly in this video?
मेरा चेहरा इधर है. कृपया करके इधर नहीं देखिए.
There is nothing over there to look at. Dad, do you see anything that is below her face? There is nothing to look at there, lady. I think you want to pretend that men are looking there because you want to feel special in your head because you are just mind-bending psycho.
मेरा चेहरा इधर है. कृपया करके इधर नहीं देखिए.
And there's nothing good about your face either, by the way. Why else would you be putting on the makeup, right, chat?
और इधर देख.
If you have to put on the makeup, that means you believe that you're ugly. That's why you try to cover it up with the makeup, right? So you don't have a face and you don't have anything below face that is worth looking at either.
तू तो मेरा वीर है. क्यों? Like क्यों? Just because I don't wear makeup doesn't mean मैं तेरा वीर हूँ. It's not like that. It doesn't work like that.
I did not understand the meaning of that. What is the real correlation between somebody being a veer and somebody putting on a makeup? Like, what exactly is the reasoning here?
Judging me on that and stop calling me your veer. I'm not your veer. Why?
What does veer have to do with the makeup? Like, are you imagining all of this?
Why on earth would you?
Listen, ladies, if you want to know what men really think about you, maybe just ask a man by inviting them on the show rather than imagining things in your head.
You think?
Because you're really just talking to yourself, not us.
That it is okay to sexually manipulate us into doing things we don't really want to do.
How can you sexually manipulate a woman if she's an adult? What are you, a baby? That we can manipulate you?
For what? Love? Or secondly,
what? I'm sorry, who files the majority of pretext to marriage cases? Oh, okay. No. We need to check this for real. Okay, chat, check this out. Here's a real experiment. All I'm gonna type in Google is that my boyfriend doesn't want to marry me. Space Lorado. Okay, let's do one more. My boyfriend is cheating on me. Space Lorado. So, what is Lorado? Okay, Lorado is basically a legal forum where clients can openly ask legal advice from lawyers, and it's publicly visible. Okay, my boyfriend refuses to marry me after a physical relationship. That's the first results. Okay, This is what somebody has posted. I'm in a relationship for 1.5 years. My boyfriend said that he will marry me. We became physical, but now he refused to marry. Well, because it's his body, his choice, right? What is the lawyer's advice? You should lodge a first information report against your boyfriend if they're adamant about his decision. For that purpose, you should visit police station. You can go for legal proceedings against him for being fraudulent. You can file police complaint against your boyfriend for breach of promise to marry and made physical relation with you without your prior consent. My boyfriend doesn't want to marry me. Another one. Give a complaint at all women police station. So you get the picture, right? What is the second one? My boyfriend is cheating on me. Lorato. Okay. Can I file a case against my boyfriend for cheating? You must engage a lawyer immediately and file a complaint before police. You have other legal remedies, blah, blah, blah. Where is that lady?
Manipulate us into doing things we don't really want to do.
Yeah, so who manipulates who into doing things sexually that we don't want to do? If we say we don't want to be in a sexual relationship with you, why are you the one that is filing rape on pretext of marriage? Who's manipulating who? Professor is live? Okay, I'll check out in a second. This girl is irritating.
For what? Love?
और secondly, what's the deal with your homophobia? तुमको लगता है कि हर गे बॉय जो तुमको कॉफी के लिए बोलता है या अच्छी से बात करता है वो तुम्हारा पैंट्स में घुसना चाहता है?
Yeah, source, trust me, bro, because you really have no sources for that.
Crazy है क्या?
दादा, public है ना? Stop adjusting your crotch and your balls like that. How will
Stop adjusting your tits and breastfeeding children in public.
you feel if you start doing that with our boobs?
I know you feel good, but I'm sorry, I don't feel good about you.
These women are coming from such high privilege, like they really have no experience of having testicles and having to ride motorcycles in a lot of heat and how they stick to your thighs and cause discomfort.
Playing with your thing in public. Why is a man experienced if he's been with a lot of women, but if I've been with a lot of men, I'm a slut? What do you think we are?
There is a saying that if a key can open all of the locks, it's called a master key, but if a lock can be opened by any key, it's called a loser lock.
Children, we can't take the truth.
Why do you think it's okay to say, थोड़ा 1-2 kilo gain हो गया ना? They are my kilos. You cannot comment on them.
Hey, hi.
Isn't that Kusha Kapila who went through the weight loss journey because she's the one that is insecure? Isn't that true, chat?
हो गया ना?
If your weight doesn't matter, why did you go through the weight loss thing?
They are my kilos. You cannot comment on them.
Hey.
We literally, the majority of the body shaming that women get, they get from other women.
Hi. You there? Hello. Hey girl. Hey dear. Hey.
Want to make friendship? No, I don't. What is wrong with you? Learn to take a hint. I mean, this is not even a hint. It's like a slap, a punch in the face. I don't want to make friendship with you. Stop messaging me.
Why are you?
You know, that part I think has some truth to it because some guys really do that.
So ashamed of my bra strap.
Why do you find it so hard to be honest with the women in your life? Rastae, kono meke, button khula shirt pore dekhle, stop.
You know, honestly, we would be more honest with women if they were actually willing to listen to the honesty, but you can't handle it.
Stop telling them.
Because, I mean, just look at this video, for example. You only want to hear favorable opinions, so how can we be honest? Because honesty means expressing criticism and unfavorable opinions.
Them to button in their shirts up. It just makes you look like a creep.
What is with the Madonna whore complex?
Oh, okay, wait a second. So we should button up our shirts, but you want to be able to show your cleavages. How does that work? Nah, the hypocrisy is crazy. How are you going to talk about me not having... Okay, so your body, your choice, but my body, your choice.
Them to button in their shirts up. It just makes you look like a creep.
What is...
And she's here.
with the Madonna whore complex? Like, why the distinction between women you want to fuck and women you want to marry?
Well, because women who have a lot of body count are not safe for marriage because they're more likely to divorce.
Like, why the distinction between women you want to fuck and women you want to marry?
I need your money?
All our male lawyers and all our Simpson replies. Well, the honest answer is that I think majority of the lawyers might be men in general. Let's just check. Is lawyer a male or female dominated profession? Overall, men still outnumber women in legal. Yeah, so they're majority men. The problem is not the gender. It's just they are given the weapon of the law. So why would they want to lose out on the opportunity to get a customer? Because technically, you can also argue that selling alcohol is immoral. But if you've legalized selling alcohol, then pretty much everybody will sell alcohol. So if you've legalized violence against men, by like you basically have one-sided laws that women can take advantage of. Why would lawyers stop recommending it to them? If one lawyer was to not recommend it, the other lawyer will get all the customers. Like, it has to be blocked from the source, but if it's allowed, everybody's gonna do it. React to questions Indian women have for men by Odd Rumble. Oh, this one? Okay.
Women stare.
It is 31 minutes long. I've probably watched for like 3-4 minutes.
I am stared at because I have long locks. People stare. Indians in general stare a lot. Also, staring is what I'm doing right now. Not staring is what you talk about. This is not staring. This is staring.
I can validate that people do stare at long hair.
Not staring.
Why don't you change your underwear more often? Like, jolly shade dushmani hai.
I change my underwear every day, and I'm sure most guys do too. We keep.
I do not change my underwear for almost a week, and it's none of anybody's business.
Our groin's pretty clean, and hence it becomes really important that we do change our underwear every day.
Yeah, I think he changes it maybe because he goes out. I sit at home all day, okay? So, like, I don't change it.
I think this was a question for your boyfriend. Maybe you should talk to him about hygiene.
Why do you have such a big fat ego?
How on earth do I even answer such a question?
Why do you make such a big deal during cricket matches like, you know, you're on the field? Oh, usko aise ball karna chahiye tha. Oh, isko ye karna chahiye tha. You're not there. Just chill out, calm your tits, okay?
Not every guy watches cricket. I don't watch cricket. I know plenty
I don't watch cricket either. Chat, who here watches cricket and who doesn't?
of guys that don't watch cricket either.
I just be watching UFC if I watching sports.
I watch UFC, and that's the only sport I care to watch.
He's like me.
And even if I did watch cricket, what is your problem with it? I'll stop screaming while I'm watching cricket the day you stop crying while you're watching romantic comedies. And you're
Show Dick some respect.
Soap operas for that matter.
Hockey के साथ इतना step brotherly treatment क्यों?
Not every guy watches hockey either. What's your point over here?
What's with the aggression, man? Stop overcompensating, na? Chill the hell out.
So when you're saying overcompensation, I'm assuming you're saying penis, right? Smaller the penis, the greater the aggression. And everyone knows only men are capable of rudimentary emotions like aggression. Women can't be aggressive because by your logic, only a person who has a penis can be aggressive. Especially a person with a small penis, greater the aggression. What an insufferable piece of gelatin you are.
What's with the beard? Like, trim it at least, you know, if you're not going to go clean shaving, although that's something you should try.
What's with the 1950s haircut? My fucking face.
Why am I a Diane, Jurel, bitch, whore, slut if I wear red lipstick? Why?
You're none of those. Maybe a clown? Frankly, men don't even care about your lipstick. I don't care about your lipstick, and most men don't care about your lipstick either. Women judge each other for their shades of lipstick than men.
Yeah, true. I think there was even a study where, let me see if I can find it. Women slut shame each other on Twitter as much as men do. Okay. I actually saw a study where they were doing it more than men. Half of misogynistic tweets sent by... okay. Their research found cases in which girls of 15 were calling each other skinny slut, fat slag, and engaging in body shaming.
Frankly, don't give a damn.
Why do you judge women who wear makeup? I mean, what's your problem?
Again, men don't...
I don't watch cricket. It's sussy. I watch UFC too. Exactly. Not everybody watches cricket. It's too slow. Sometimes boring as well. And it's difficult to understand. Is China a based country? Well, China, for abolishing alimony laws, is hella based.
Care about your cosmetics. You can put cake icing on your face, and I wouldn't care. Right? We can't even tell the difference between your 200 shades of red. It's
no, actually, the truth is that we really don't care what women put on their face, as long as we don't have to romantically engage with them. Because if I'm trying to get attracted to somebody, it's only that one woman alone where it matters. Because if I'm trying to get attracted to somebody and you're putting on a makeup, it's my choice of who I get attracted to, and I don't get attracted to fraud women.
Women who judge other women on their cosmetics. We have better things.
Yeah, exactly.
To do, like judging you on your terribly stupid argument.
And the
yes, thank you.
Man bun. Oh my God. If you're still doing it, darling, you got to go back like 10 years.
I'll go back 10 years.
My body, my choice just doesn't follow here.
You go back to the 1950s.
Why do you have to pee everywhere and not inside the commode? Why? What's up, guys? Use your tool nicely. Use your tool nicely.
We know how to aim our tool. Are you sure you're not talking about your dog who's constantly marking his territory inside your house? Or maybe your boyfriend has severe nerve damage, maybe a complete loss of motor skills. You could help him out.
आयो ये मैंसप्लेनिंग माँ के पेट से सीख कर आयो कि वक्त ने किया कोई हंसी सितम?
ये गोबर सेंस ऑफ ह्यूमर माँ के पेट से सीख के आई हो या वक्त ने करा कोई हंसी सितम?
भाई साहब
Bro has some swag. I think we've seen this, so we'll move on. I don't think I'm gonna play a lot of this. Let's just quickly fast forward it to 1 or 2 more timestamps that we're gonna move on because it's pretty boring.
Female roles are very insignificant. सिर्फ एक wife होती है या फिर सिर्फ.
So I've debunked 6 myths. So I think majority of this interview is probably very shallow. I'm not gonna watch Mrs. Movie. Let's forget that. So we'll watch this part, misandry and hate on social media, okay, and then the Karvachot and patriarchy. I think that example I already responded to. We'll watch the alimony part after that.
And I don't think MRA का rule ये होना चाहिए कि feminism is bad because feminism is needed. ये तो सबकी intellect सबको बता रहा है. हाँ, अब feminism में कोई feminism के नाम पे अगर misandry बोले या फिर कोई ऐसी.
Yeah, but she fails to pay attention that feminism is in isolation is bad because you're leaving the disparities. You're increasing the disparities by not attending the issues where men have inequalities, right? So women are becoming more dominant. They're dominant in the male-dominated areas. They're dominant in female-dominated areas. So in isolation, they're bad. And on top of that, check this out. So everybody keeps asking why MRAs really have problem with feminists. It's not the social media that is the problem. It's actually the women who get funded that are the problem, right? So let's take a look at, for example, this document, right? Similarly, Saheli, another Delhi-based autonomous organization, recounts that during their meetings to discuss Commission's report there was strong opposition to gender neutrality from all groups present except for 2 groups who felt that the provision of gender neutrality ought to be retained. The reason why MRAs have a problem with feminism is because all, as you can see here, all groups except maybe isolated 1 or 2, the rest of them want to suppress men from having gender neutral sexual offenses laws. That's why we have a problem.
ऐसी पोस्ट डाले कि हाँ क्रिमिनल बन रहा है बहुत सही है, then the men right people should come up. But the point is कि आप इंटरनेशनल मेंस डे पे देखोगे कोई एमआरएस नहीं दिखेगा, कोई बात नहीं करेगा, कोई विश नहीं करेगा, कुछ नहीं होगा, सब शांत है.
How do you know that though? How do you know that?
Sources. Dude, trust me. Citation 1, it is known. Citation 2, it is known. Citation 3, it is known. And citation 4, it is known. Footnote 1. This was once revealed to me in a dream.
Yeah, how does she know that we don't wish each other on Men's Day? I mean, in our communities, it's pretty common. So I run a Reddit page here. We'll just go to Men's Day. Happy Men's Day. Okay, here you go, 5 months ago. What makes her think that men don't wish each other Men's Day? And she's talking especially about, she's talking about MRAs don't talk about Men's Day. So we are the MRAs. This is the MRA community. It has 25K followers. Okay. And 5 months ago, there are multiple posts. Happy International Men's Day. So how did she draw a conclusion that MRAs don't talk about Men's Day?
Are you sure about that?
Women's Day के दिन they will come and why Women's Day why happy first day.
कंप्लेन भी करेंगे, मेंस डे के दिन कंप्लेन भी करेंगे कि हमारे बारे में कोई बात क्यों नहीं करता. अबे तुम ही तो वुमेन्स डे पे बात करते हो. तो
See, this is ironic, chat. Look who's talking.
अगर काम हमारी लाइफ इजी नहीं है, मैन की लाइफ कभी इजी नहीं है और एप्रिसिएशन भी नहीं मिलेगा हमें. हम इतना अगर काम भी करें तो क्या हुआ इंटरनेशनल मेंस डे पे 19 नवंबर को होता है. गूगल ने चेंज किया कुछ? गूगल हमेशा वो चेंज करता है अपना डूडल, क्या कहते हैं उसे, उसका जो लोगो होता है अच्छा बन जाता है. वुमेन डे के अंदर अलग ही भाव अलग ही आ जाएगा उसके अंदर कुछ.
He is the guy that she's complaining about. He is the guy. Like, imagine he's in one video here just 4 or 5 months ago talking about how Google doesn't change the doodle on Men's Day, but it does on Women's Day. And when this lady from last week, when she's talking about how MRA start complaining, then he's completely changed his position. Yeah, men
कुछ नहीं
start
होगा,
bitching.
सब शांत है. Women's Day के दिन they will come and why Women's Day, why?
He is the guy who complains on Women's Day that Men's Day doesn't get the same amount of attention.
Why? Happy Father's Day.
कंप्लेन भी करेंगे, मेंस डे के दिन कंप्लेन भी करेंगे कि हमारे
You are the guy that complains, bro. You are the guy.
कोई बात क्यों नहीं करता? अबे तुम ही तो वुमेन्स डे की बात करते हो, तो अपने बारे में बात कर लो उस दिन.
हाँ, my point.
What is happening right now? What a performance, man. What a performance. What a performance. You know, one face here, one face there. If you are the one that complains, don't act like you're blaming other men for this shit.
Men's Day पे आप बात करो, आप लोगों को लाओ इस रस्ते पे.
Okay, taking this guy out of it. The real problem with it, which she's not willing to understand, is that Men's Day and Women's Day get different attention, right? Even though we personally want to wish it, it's not just about that. The overall attention when we're talking about, it depends upon the society, how society treats Men's Day and Women's Day, right? You go to work at your company. Does your company do Men's Day? No, it doesn't. It does Women's Day for 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, right? But it doesn't do Men's Day. President of the US wants to do Women's Day. Again, he did a women's event, in March, but he didn't do for men. He actually said it straight up in the video that I don't want to do it for men, right? Same goes for the society. It's like we will wish each other, but then, our mother, our father, our brothers, our sisters, right? None of them want to wish us. So there is significantly less attention towards men, right? They don't get that appreciation. That's the point. So like to completely brush away your responsibility of participating in a culture by blaming it all on men doesn't really make your point.
Let's talk about the men issues.
Bro, he's a pendulum. He doesn't have his own ideology or way of thinking. Yeah, but it doesn't seem consistent. Like if you have taken a position in one video, hold that position, bro.
Let's address what.
I think it's good that he's trying to be an interviewer that listens to people, but I think sometimes in interviews you also have to challenge the people. Otherwise, it comes across as an echo chamber. Like you're just agreeing with anything and everything. There is no nuance. Everything is very predictable in nature.
What men are facing. Let's talk about what men are going through. But अगर आप ये करोगे ही नहीं तो आप तो MRA हो नहीं पहले. You are just a hateful person. That is a difference.
Yeah, and I think there should also be a conversation about how women also complain on Men's Day that Men's Day should be declared, which it is. Men's Day is a toilet day, basically. It coincides. So I think her advocacy is very selective in nature. Instead of looking at both pictures, she only wants to look at one picture. That makes women look very good and men look very bad. But in reality, women do just as bad on Men's Day as men do on Women's Day. I think they do more, actually.
दूसरी बात GDP की जो बात है, I think हमारे इंडिया में पहली बात तो अभी भी गर्ल्स एजुकेशन इज नॉट प्रायोरिटाइज्ड. अगर घर में एक लड़का होता है और एक लड़की होती है तो एक सम ऑफ अमाउंट होता है जो लड़के की एजुकेशन के लिए रखा जाता है और एक सम ऑफ अमाउंट होता है जो लड़कियों की शादी के लिए रखा जाता है. एंड दैट हैपेंस इन वेरी गुड फैमिलीज. ऐसा नहीं है कि अनएजुकेटेड फैमिलीज के बारे में बात कर रही हूं. दे आर वेरी गुड एजुकेटेड फैमिलीज बट दे स्टिल हैव दिस थिंकिंग कि नहीं लड़के को करना है. और इसमें कुछ गलत भी नहीं है बिकॉज हमारी सोसाइटी में अगर एक लड़का कोई आर्टफुल करियर चूज करना चाहे, क्रिएटिव फील्ड में जाना चाहे तो सोसाइटी इज नॉट ओके विद इट जब तक वो अर्न ना करे. बट अगर सेम एक लड़की बैठी रहती है तो सोसाइटी इज कंप्लीटली फाइन कि यार शादी करवा दो. बट वो काम नहीं कर रहा है, वो भी.
Yeah, but actually the problem is that creative fields pay less. They are more reliable, they're more stable, right? But they pay relatively less. So if women were willing to marry men that were making less income than them, then you could argue that men can take creative fields or less paying jobs, right? But you really don't have any authority to argue that when you are refusing to marry those men. Because you're controlling the market at that point. Right, and also I think what she doesn't understand is that education figures for women have been much better than men. So it's like people are less likely to educate boys. So if you just look at the statistics, for example, has anybody seen this? Because she clearly hasn't, chat. She's just not interested in doing the research. But how true is it that people save for men's education but not for women? Okay, let's just take a look at that. This is from 2020, okay? This is from Government of India. The gross enrollment ratio of girls across all levels of education is now higher than boys. Elementary level, secondary level, higher secondary level. When is this from? So 2014, right? So I want to show for how long have the education enrollment been higher for girls than boys? Okay, gross enrollment ratio, primary, it's 98 for boys, 100 for girls. Upper primary, 84 for boys, 90 for girls. Elementary, 93 for boys, 96 for girls. Secondary, 73.5 for boys, 73.7 for girls. First to 10th, 89.4 for boys, 92.4 for girls. Senior secondary, 49.1, 49.1. First to 12th, 83.3 for boys, 85.9 for girls. So since 2014 until now, women are higher in all levels of education except higher education, which in 2014 was lower for women. However, in 2018, that is also now high for women since 2018. Okay, yeah, so I was right? In 2017 to 2018, the enrollment ratio for females stood at 24.6, which is slightly higher than their male counterparts of 24.5. So women are beating men in all the levels. What are you talking about? There is no money left for their education, and people don't want to educate their daughters. My girlfriend called my toxic masculine, so does most people. What should I do? Your girlfriend calls you toxic masculine? Then she shouldn't be your girlfriend. Why is she your girlfriend, Putin? We will birth kids if alimony is banned in our country just like in China. Bro, education is fine but not the reservation. Yeah, so they give reservation to women in education as well. And she's talking about how people don't want to educate their girls. They don't save any money for that. No, nothing is fine. They should be kept at home for household chores. They should not participate in any other activities other than chores. Bro, just as I said, they have been yapping the repeated sentences since 90s. That might be true because it does look repetitive and regurgitative. Like lacks any research. She just have a belief system, right? So I think she just relies upon that for the most part. So okay, boring. Let's move on fast. I'm gonna end this in like probably 10 minutes. Did I update my myth bunking to 7? Here you go. Oh my god, if I listen to the entire podcast, there are probably like 50 lies in there.
लड़कियां होती है जो काम करने लग जाती है.
I'm not gonna listen to the entire podcast. You can forget about it.
अब उन लड़कियों में भी उनकी थिंकिंग ऐसे कंडीशनड है, उनको ये नहीं लगता है कि I want to grow.
What is the point of your education when you invest nothing in human history? Their participation rate for women in labor force is like lower than the Islamic countries even. The ones that are at war.
Go into a businesswoman, or I want to be a CEO, or I want.
They literally just want education to basically have it as a status, but they don't have any use case for it. Like, I mean, they have a use case for it, but they don't want to use it.
To do something जिससे मैं profit yield कर सकूं. उनका thinking ये होता है कि मुझे 10-20 मिल रहा है 1000, हाँ मैं shopping कर लिया हो गया. उनका thinking भी is very conditioned in a way that they forget the thing कि we can also contribute to something, we can contribute in a bigger picture, we can yield profit, we can do things. मैंने अपनी एज के लड़कियों को देखा है बोलते हुए that मुझे म्यूचुअल फंड समझ नहीं आता है, I don't know which stocks to pay, invest upon.
And she's here. Very good.
And they are asking help from a guy of the same age.
Like women talk about how men don't do chores, which is, by the way, again, another imaginary myth that they have in their head. But if it was really true that men don't do their chores, then women also depend upon men to make their financial investment. So like, we are your brokers. That makes you irresponsible child as well.
एक बंदे को पता है तो उसने कहाँ से सीखा है? गूगल से, किसी इंसान से, लोग से. पैदाइशी तो वो नहीं.
Correct.
पता होगा उसको इस स्टॉक्स में करना है, इस म्यूचुअल फंड पे करना है. तो आप अगर सेम एज की एक लड़की हो, आप भी कर सकते हो. Because I'm talking about all.
Correct. Yeah.
All the girls here जिनके पास opportunities है. Because एक group of girls तो है जिनके पास opportunities है ही नहीं. I can't comment.
There are no group of girls that don't have opportunities. There's literally no group of girls that don't have opportunities. The mentality that women have in relation to job is that they want the job that they desire, whereas men do the job that they find, that they need, right? They have to make the bread at the end of the day. So even if they have to push a stall, or do a Zomato delivery, despite having an engineering degree, they do that because they have no other choice. Because that's what's needed to keep a shelter over their head and food in their belly, right? Whereas for women, it's like, I will not be a Zomato delivery, I will not push stalls, I will not sweep the roads because I have a very high degree for those kind of jobs. Yeah, but what else are you gonna do? Eat off of your daddy's money and then complain about patriarchy?
On that, I don't want to, क्योंकि उनके पास opportunities ही नहीं है on the first place. मैं उनके साथ क्या बात करूँ? But I
Yeah, so you have the opportunities, you just have to use them.
can complain about the girls जिनके पास opportunities है, but they take things very in a light manner क्योंकि they are conditioned in a way. They are like, हाँ ठीक है.
Okay, so they're conditioned in a way. Now, see, Chad, this is the problem, right? They start making excuses when women don't do their job that they're supposed to. If men don't do chores, they're Raja Beta, they're spoiled, they're man-child. But if women don't do their financial investments by themselves, then like, oh, they're conditioned that way. She became a victim suddenly. Okay,
Don't
move
like
on.
girls who are
Move
too
on.
independent.
Chat, 5 minutes, I'm gonna react to this. Then I'm moving on.
आपको तो मायका छोड़ के ससुराल जाना होगा. वहाँ पे जाके जब तक जॉब नहीं मिलता ससुराल वाले
ओए मैं तो थक गया इसकी बातें सुन के. अब मैं सो रहा हूँ. जरूरत पड़े तो भी मुझे मत उठाना. गुड नाइट.
Can he just have me on the show? Like, Jesus. I'm just trying to see if in the end there's anything interesting. Let's go to alimony part. Let's look at this here.
Alimony उठा लो.
देखो, alimony honestly I don't support. Honestly, support in the sense I think.
Okay.
Show Dick some respect.
At least she has some senses. So she doesn't support alimony. The guy asks why?
Hello.
What do you mean why?
देखो, alimony honestly I don't support. Honestly, support in the sense I think.
Show Dick some respect.
Alimony किस बात पे?
Isn't it obvious?
I don't support मैं बता रही हूँ. अगर I am a working woman, I don't support alimony. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अगर मेरा
क्यों compensation नहीं लेना? बोलते ना रिवार्ड है तो compensation है unpaid
नहीं,
labor का.
मुझे नहीं. हाँ, ये अनपेड लेबर जो है उनका तो हक बनता है. अगर if I am 5 years married into a marriage, I am married, ठीक है 5 years, and मुझे मेरे पति ने काम करने नहीं दिया. Obviously 5 साल के लिए I have zero.
Yeah. Okay. So I thought exactly what it's gonna be. That it's my husband that has asked me not to do a job, and that is why I deserve an alimony. But by that logic, if a woman asks me to be a breadwinner, sole breadwinner of the family, am I justified in asking for dowry then? Because it's just reductive thinking, right? Right? It's like a childish a thought process that somebody asked me to do it, I just did it. Well, I tell you what, if you're an engineer, somebody asks you to be a minimum wage worker at McDonald's, will you accept it? I guess not. Then why would you accept to be a homemaker? Well, I'll tell you why. Because being a homemaker gives you more benefits than doing a job in a form of an alimony. So alimony directly incentivizes people to sit at home. The same way that if you domesticate an animal, right? If you domesticate an animal, chat, they forget or they lose their ability to fend off on their own in the wild or on the street, right? And there are a lot of studies that say wild animals, even when people start feeding them, they lose their ability to hunt, right? Because why do you need to hunt if the food is being fed to you in your mouth? Why would the lion hunt, chat? Right? So if you're really giving women an option to have an alimony, which is like a free lunch that is given to them from a man's pocket, why exactly would they need to look for a job? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and if it's like that, then maybe they should give us an opportunity to have dowry if we're sole breadwinners. A lot of men would ask for dowry then as well.
Experience, so I will not get a job easily in this market. तब अगर alimony की बात होती है, I agree. हाँ, लड़की को चाहिए alimony. जो की wife है उसे alimony चाहिए.
15 करोड़ 20 करोड़ है. Unfair नहीं, unfair alimony भी तो मांगी जाती है. आपने देखा नहीं है? जहाँ पर
वही मैं बोल रही हूँ. नहीं, see, that's the issue ना. Alimony एक जगह पे सही है, एक जगह पे गलत है. तो इस पे strict किसको होना है? Legal system को. Rules किसको reform करने चाहिए? Legal system को. Alimony is not wrong, but अगर कोई alimony में ये मांगे कि मुझे इतने लाख रुपए चाहिए, और ऐसे रील्स भी मैंने देखे हैं जहाँ पे एक लेडी सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जज थी.
But who is preventing the legal system from reforming? It's the feminists that you are advocating for. Chat, how many people know that it's the National Commission of Women And Women and Child Welfare Ministry, that is not only protecting the alimony laws, but making them worse. How many people know that? Because these powerful groups really work in the shadows to do their dirty job that nobody finds out unless you look very, very deeply. So see right here. On June 30, 2008, the National Commission for Women. See, this is my problem, that feminists like these would come on podcasts to present the very best image of feminism, that we are for equality, we're against patriarchy, we don't want alimony. But that is just a gift wrap. What is inside the gift wrap is basically poison that you're selling in a box. Because when you really look at what your movement does, when you're not on the screen, away from the screen where you have the money, then you find out that your organizations are making laws to make men the breadwinners and to give women the free lunches. All right, now let's take a look at this. On June 30, 2008, National Commission for Women recommended to Ministry of Women and Child Development that the definition of wife in Section 125, Section 125 is the maintenance and alimony law, to be expanded to include women who live with their partners. This is why, chat, for many, many days and many, many months, I've been telling you that live-in relationships are just as bad as marriages, because your live-in girlfriends have the same right to maintenance from you that wives do. And who is to blame for that? National Commission for Women, along with Ministry of Women and Child Development Ministry. So the people who claim that feminism is for equality forget to mention conveniently that feminism in the background is actually responsible for the discrimination. They're not for equality. The recommendation's goal was to harmonize the legal provisions dealing with blah, 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 blah. The Malimat Committee. So they established, for this purpose, the Supreme Court established the Justice Malimat Committee after lobbying by these two organizations, and said that if a man and a woman live together as a husband and a wife for a reasonable long period of time, the man shall be deemed to have married the woman. The Malimat Committee also proposed broadening the definition of the wife in CRPC to include a woman living with a man as if she were his wife, implying that even a woman in a live-in relationship with a man could be entitled to alimony. The Supreme Court ruled in a case that a woman does not have to prove her marriage in order to claim maintenance. A woman in a live-in relationship may also seek maintenance under Criminal Procedure Code. So much for we don't support alimony. You are just a gift wrap. There is poison inside your movement. They are the ones that control the most of the money. In reality, they're all misandrists. Yeah, it's true. It's like, you're basically really trying to sell a product with a very shiny label, very clean label, but it's all false advertising at its best. Right? So I think this is the problem, right? Which is why men say that feminists should not be judged by their definition, but rather by their actions. And that goes for most people. And when you look into the actions, when you say majority of the women's groups, which you saw in the report earlier, all of them except two were against gender neutral rape laws. All of them are advocating for alimony and maintenances. Now, what are you talking about? Equality? That's just fake equality. So, Chad, I think this is my last myth that I debunked, and I am pretty bored, and I'm sure you are pretty bored. So we're just gonna move on as of right now.
ओए मैं तो थक गया इसकी बातें सुन के। अब मैं सो रहा हूँ। जरूरत पड़े तो भी मुझे मत उठाना।
So in conclusion, Chad, so far from what we heard, okay? This was the chart that we drew. I think in the end, she also wants alimony under certain circumstances. Okay. This is the validity of feminism today, chat. So make your own conclusion. Now, one woman in comment section of Ajib Bakri saying that the day women become Kalima, all boys will be behind war. You know, wasn't there a post on Pahalgam Terrorist attack where one of the women said, yeah, here you go, right? Yeah, that's the one. It said, dear feminists, want to see what male privilege in this country looks like? Just look at this list. And this is a list of all the deceased in terrorist attack in Pahalgam. And there are like, I think 26 men here that were, whose life were ended. And her response is, the only unfortunate thing about this whole situation is they got only 26 men. They should have killed at least 500 Indian men. See, this is what I was covering in Toxic Masculinity stream, is that women really use the shield of equality and women's safety to kind of justify violence against men. And this is a good example of that. So she's advocating for a genocide, basically. If men become Lakshman, yes, let's go. All the Surpanakas will have their nose chopped off. W. Okay, what else do we have for reaction? Mick, the Pahalgam massacre was an androcide. My blood is fucking boiling. Do you have any plans to make a video about this atrocity? Practically no major media outlet has mentioned that it was specifically an androcide, with all victims deliberately chosen because they were men. So the problem about calling it androcide, first of all, I think we should just call it manicide because that's easily understandable. Not a lot of people know that andro is a word for men, so let's just call it manicide. Now the problem with that is, first of all, I don't have any plans to make a video, but I can give a reaction on a stream because videos are high production, chat, and they take a long time to make. And so I don't think I'll ever be able to get it out in time. Okay, so let's just talk about it, right? Should it be called a manocide? Yes. Chat, let me know if this is true or not. But I think the reason why they stripped them or took their pants down is to check if they're circumcised or not. Because I think Muslim men are circumcised, whereas Hindu men are not. So the reason for taking their pants down would be to check if they're Hindus or Muslims. And if you find that they're Hindus, meaning their penises are not circumcised, then they would target them for killing, basically, right? So is it a manicide? Yes. However, the minute you start using this narrative, there are a lot of people who will come, because you're essentially trying to say that men are disproportionately victims of violence. But then they will say the ones committing violence are also men. So it's a men-on-men crime. It's always a man. Anytime you cast a spotlight on victimhood of men, right? The society dismisses it by casting a bigger spotlight on the perpetrators of men, which is that crimes against men are also committed by other men. So the problem is with men, right? The blame is just shifted immediately. Now the interesting part about it is that, you know, technically if you look at certain statistics, women are most likely to advocate for female genital mutilation. But then they never claim that women are to blame for female genital mutilation. Then they say it's that patriarchy, women are programmed to women are basically programmed to encourage female genital mutilation for their daughters. It's not their fault. Well, I think that people should also recognize that all the countries, all the religions basically program their men to commit acts of violence against other religions, other countries. And from both sides, it's men who target other men. So it is a manicide. And actually, I think it reminded me of what happened in Bosnia as well. I think in Bosnia, I think during the 95, the Serbs genocided 8,000 to 10,000 men. they actually allowed for women to escape in a train, but they stopped the men, and they took them behind this building called the White House, and they kept shooting them in the head, and they murdered at least I think around 8 to 10,000, if not more. And they did the same thing. They were also, I think, stripping them down to check if they're Muslim, because in that genocide it's about Muslims being genocided, Muslim men. So again, they were stripping them down, checking if they're Muslim, and then shooting them. And the reason, and I think this is what I was wondering, why did the terrorists in Pahalgam targeted only men? They killed 26 men that were tourists, by the way, not even soldiers, they were tourists. And I was wondering why. Because in Bosnian genocide, it was pretty clear that Serbs wanted to occupy the territory, right, from Muslims. So the reason why they targeted men is because men are military age and they can be used to fight back. And they didn't want to leave anybody to fight back. So they let the women and children escape, but they killed all the men. But in Pahalgam, what was the motive of targeting men? I don't understand. Will girls marry a boy who doesn't earn by clarity for youth? Will girls marry a boy who doesn't earn by clarity for youth? What is this title, bruh? Who doesn't earn? Oh my god, this guy, bruh, this guy.
की नौकरानी नहीं बनूंगी, ये महिलाएं बोलती हैं जब लड़ाइयां होती हैं, मैं क्या तेरी नौकरानी हूं? आदमी तो नहीं कहता मैं तेरा ड्राइवर हूं जब उसको कहीं ले जाना.
How is he advocating for men suddenly? He's usually the simp guy, right? The boomer simp.
है वो बोलती सब्जी लेके आ जाना, आदमी तो नहीं कहता मैं तेरा रामू काका हूं जो लेकर आऊंगा. There are females जो इंडिया में 80% काम नहीं करती, घर में हाउसवाइफ हैं. You tell me one female who will marry somebody who doesn't earn money. 80% men are willing to marry females who don't earn money. So expectations की जो आप ये बात कह रहे हो, इसके अंदर गलत ट्रेनिंग हो रही है लड़कियों की. Mothers should just say, keep quiet and say, बेटा अपना खेल खेलो अपनी लाइफ का.
Chat, how is this guy suddenly advocating in favor of men? He usually shames us. How did he suddenly take our side? Simp uncle final boss? Bruh, he's advocating on our behalf suddenly. This grifter just changed sides now. I think, you know what's happening? I think he's trying to play both sides. He's doing the same thing that conservatives do, which is that present themselves as empathetic to men. So then men will come, right? Because it's like, I mean, I'm taking a guess. It's like a bait. It's like you're giving somebody wrong signals to come to you. But once they're in, you're going to poison them, right? So yeah, he's looking like he's empathetic. But when you start listening to him more and more, he always ends up favoring the girls and women and undermining the boys. But I think in this one, like he had a based opinion. I'll give him that. He only cares about views. Yeah, I do agree. He does care about views. I think it's all about grifting for him, to be honest. Purple Pill Uncle. So, okay, so, yeah, so on Pahalgam, that's my very limited views. Yeah, I don't know what else I can really say on that. Really sad. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't think the terrorists were even caught. I don't even know their motives. I don't even have any details. But definitely very sad. This video we'll cover next week. And what is this? Buddy really wiped up the most famous porn star of all time. What a pathetic excuse for a man. Bruh. Is this Riley? Her name is Riley, right? Riley Rains? I'm gonna look up on the other screen because I don't want to see anything. Chat, what's this corn star's name? Riley Reid. Okay, Riley Reid. You know what the funny thing is? That the reason why we have a lot of women behaving inappropriately, actually, with corn, as long as it's isolated in some corner, I don't have a problem. Because then, I think it should, because I am a consumer of corn, and I'm okay with corn as long as I only see it when I consent to seeing it as an adult, okay? But the main problem is that sometimes when you create a new account as a man on Instagram basically tries to trap you. Like the first thing they introduce you to is reels of women and girls exposing themselves on Instagram. And I think that's really predatory, because imagine I'm joining as a 15, 16, 17, or any year, any age, right? I could even be an adult. What is the need for you to expose me to something I didn't consent to? I didn't consent to seeing the nudity, cleavages, all of that. So I think that's really inappropriate. But the reason why they do that is, like, you know, exposing somebody to cigarettes or alcohol so they become addicted. So they expose little boys and young men to inappropriate behavior, so they get addicted to, you know, all of that sexualized stuff. But what I was trying to say was that the reason why women are able to get away with all of it is because at the end of the day, all of their bad behavior is forgiven by guys like these. So there really is no accountability, because no matter what you do in life, there will be some white knight to save you in the end. So you have really no course correction is required. I watch her videos sometimes. I actually don't find her attractive. I never watched her. And she, by the way, Chad, not a lot of people know this, but Riley Reid has also raped her boyfriend. And she admitted it herself. Here, Riley Reid admits to rape.
Jacob. Hi Riley, my name is Jake and I'm 18 years old, but I'm a virgin. I want to lose my virginity, but I'm too nervous to approach the topic with my girlfriend. My girlfriend is one of those girls who's like an A+ student, and in her senior year of high school, I think she's going to focus on her grades more than me. I just really need your help on this, but if you do not do a blog on it, I would love to get a response at least. Thanks, Jake. Okay, Jake. Well, that's a tough one, because you may be ready to lose your virginity, but maybe your partner isn't, and you should never pressure anyone to do something that they don't want to do. That goes with saying, when I lost my virginity, a guy said no 3 times, and I still hopped on it, so you're asking the wrong person.
And she's here.
She says the guy said no to her 3 times, and she still went for it. Okay, so my whole point is that, you know, on one hand, you have Ashraf Hakimi's wife, who basically, you know, divorced him, took a lot of alimony, and she justified it because he was accused of rape or sexual assault. So women are the first to betray their husbands, their brothers, their boyfriends. Like, they just look for excuses to betray them as soon as the accusation shows up, regardless of whether it's true or false. I think she intentionally wanted to divorce him, and that allegation just gave her an excuse. But on the other hand, you know, you have guys like these. On the other hand, you have guys like these who will marry a rapist woman, who will marry a corn star, right? So they're completely different standards. Ho 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 ho, yeah. So chat, anyway, I think that's all we have for reactions today. So I think that is the stream. Ironically, I thought that feminist lady was gonna be more interesting than she actually was. But it turned out, anytime feminists talk, they turn out to be really, really boring, chat. I mean, at least say something new, right? At least say something interesting, unpredictable. Like, it's the same shit you've been repeating for centuries and centuries. Can we get a new material? Join Professor stream? Yeah, let me ask him for a link and then I will join it. But chat, as usual, Putin, Asan, Andrew, anybody who's still here, thank you so much for staying along. And, you know, I'll see you probably next weekend. And with that said, it is time for me to take an exit. Mick, before going, please tell what would happen if Taliban comes to India. That's a strange question. What will happen? What will happen if Taliban comes to India? What? If Taliban comes to India? Chat, why do you have these hypothetical questions? Because these are sweeping statements. They require a lot of details. If Taliban comes to India and it is outnumbered, then Indian military would end up slaughtering them. That's what's gonna happen. It is not even possible for them to penetrate the border, let alone come inside, because they don't have the man force to penetrate the border. And if I'm not wrong, India is a nuclear state, whereas Afghanistan is not. And yeah, India has a lot of equipment, military equipment, that Afghanistan does not. So they will not be able to enter. Bro, I was at hospital yesterday and there was that neurosurgeon woman. She is behind. She's rude to you. Okay, she's rude to me. Well, I don't know in what way she's rude to you. We need more info. Just say Putin is a loyal subscriber. Putin is a loyal subscriber. Yes.
Show Dick some respect.
Putin is definitely a loyal subscriber. I have solution for these male suffering. Which male suffering and what is your solution? If something like Taliban comes out in this country, okay, let's just assume they did penetrate the border and they did come into the country. Immediate, I think immediate Sharia law. That's what's gonna happen. You will see women in burqas and men being brainwashed with, I don't know, Islamic propaganda, something like that. Radical Islamic propaganda. Like the one I've seen in documentaries. Like they have little children all racked up in a small room. They're buzzing like bees. It's like they've been asked to cram all of this religious texts, or I don't know what it is. It was in a Vice documentary. Let me see if I can find it. It's crazy. It was like disturbing to me. Must be here somewhere. Hold on. Yeah, oh my god. I think this is the one. No, not this one. Wait, I know, chat, you can't see my screen. Just give me a second. Nah, it was disturbing. Maybe this one. Yeah, chat. I don't know where it is, but like, yeah, they were just brainwashed. It just looked like to me they were brainwashing little kids into reading propaganda and like basically learning it. Total brainwash. It just sounded like a room tightly crammed with little children who were being forced to cram these things. Something like, but yeah, I think that's what would probably happen, right? Sharia law. Women in burqas, men being brainwashed with religious texts, things like that. I don't know what else is there in Taliban. Some regressive shit for sure, you know. She's rude. I think she was trying to dominate me because I was tired and not confident as usual. Putin, you might have social skill issue. I think people who get pushed around a lot usually are the ones that come across as somebody who can be pushed around. That's why the bullies even try to push you around, because they know that you can be pushed around. So I think imposing boundaries is very important. You know? I mean, you know, the imposing of boundaries need to start early in any relationship. And the minute somebody starts being rude, it's just as simple as calling them out. It's like, okay, why are you being rude? Can you not talk normally? Like, what do you think? I'm here in the hospital? Or like, you're not getting paid to do your job? And if you're not, why are you getting... Like, something simple, right? Why are you being rude to me? That's enough, usually, to just impose a boundary. To tell somebody you cannot misbehave with me. But if you keep taking it, they'll keep doing it. Mick Bai is true nationalist despite being NRI. I am actually not nationalist because... I am only nationalist as long as the nation is Meninist. If nation is anti-Meninist, then I am anti-nationalist. I believe in equal exchange, you know? I want equal partnership. My utopia, male liberation and male fulfillment will be ultimate goal. Same here. Mick Bai, I have some same ideology as you, and I am radical. I don't have radical ideology. I have a pretty normal ideology. I just want basic equal rights for men. Andrew Tate falsely accused. You know, Candace Owens made a video, I think 5-6 months ago on Andrew. But the way she presented the case, and she did show a lot of evidence from the case as well. It did look like that in that one, he was falsely accused. At least she was successful in showing the information that made him look like a victim. You're my favorite queer Mick Bai. Thank you, chat. False grave case or what, bro? Yeah, no, he's talking about that case where he was in Romania and a girl basically called one of her male friends in US. So, okay, so what had happened, this is what I know. It's like, basically, a girl in US had befriended Tristan Tate. And Tristan had then invited her to fly to Romania and live with them in their mansion, okay? And so this woman, okay, so I'll skip through. At one point, just called one of her male friends in the US and said that she's being taken hostage. And trafficked. So that white knight hero, he wanted to play a hero, right? He's like, he wants to save the girl. So he called the embassy. And one thing led to another, and they raided his house. And they applied, and they basically, after the raiding, they took him to the prison, arrested a bunch of people, started an investigation. You saw everything else on the TV, right? And then later on, when the case files were revealed, at least what Candace showed on her show was that the woman who had leveled those allegations, the evidence on the record showed that she had text messages exchanging between her and her friends, that she was freely living in the mansion, there were no restrictions, but it's just that she wanted to grab a lot of money by blackmailing Andrew and Tristan. And so she was cooking up a plan about framing them in order to blackmail them for money. Okay? So that is why she called one of her male friends to tell him. Basically, she was entertaining the idea of telling people that she's being trafficked, which was all fake. But he actually took it seriously, and he seriously reported that as a crime. And she also had his prior history of framing other guys falsely, which went to trial, and it was determined that they were falsely accused. Something like that. It's a confusing story, but yeah, it's possible that he was framed. 100% radical banjao by Hindu Hindu Khatre. I'm just not gonna read it. In my utopia, the only remaining objective purpose of humanity, that is men, will be exploration of the universe and scientific advancements. That sounds pretty good. In my utopia, the objective purpose of men will be, I agree. I was about to say that total liberation and freedom to do whatever they want. But you said exploration of the universe, which I think can be the same thing. Buddha point to be noticed. Make bro love from Bangladesh. In my country, Bangladesh, recently an innocent boy named Jahidul Hasan Parvez is killed by simps for a girl. Yo, no way this is happening in Bangladesh too. Read the Daily Star News article to understand on Google. Yo, what? This shit happens in India a lot. It's happening in Bangladesh too. Jahidul Hasan Parvez. Hasan Parvez. Parvez murder. Prime accused Miharaj arrested and gained Banda. Third accused. Alright, this is the story. Okay. Around 3 p.m. Saturday, Parvez was chatting and laughing with his friends in front of a shop, locally known as Alimony Dokan, in front of Rankon building on the opposite side of the university. 2 female students from the University of Scholars were standing behind them. At that time, 3 guys approached Parvez and asked why they were laughing. This led to an argument between Parvez and his friends and the accused named in the case. 3 university teachers later intervened and resolved the dispute. Around 4:40 p.m. when Parvez and his friends were talking on the road in front of the university, the accused, along with other unidentified individuals, chased them, according to the case statement. It said that as Parvez and his friends were running into Prime Major University, 4 guys and his friend Tariqul Islam at the university. 4 guys caught Parvez and his friend Tariqul Islam at the university gate. The accused, along with unidentified accomplices, assaulted both of them brutally. The CCTV camera footage of the incident has also shown similar events. So like what? So like what did the girls do? Like they basically accused him of harassing them? And this is why all these guys were playing heroes and assaulting the other men for the purposes of saving the girls? White knighting? Is that what happened? Mick, I have a question. Do you think with the rise of tech and AI, we can eliminate small jobs and let people who do these jobs do nothing and they will still get universal monthly income? I don't see that happening. So jobs are being eliminated all the time since the Industrial Revolution. And so even with the AI, a lot of jobs will be eliminated, but the people will just migrate to different roles then, right? Like, for example, cars used to be assembled by hands, but now they're done by machines. So all the people who were assembling cars by hands migrated to do other jobs, like maybe programming the machines, you know? So I think same way, like maybe driverless cars, for example, self-driving cars will be a thing, so you wouldn't need drivers. But then all the people who are driving, that population will migrate to another profession, which will open up. You know what's a good example is YouTube. So you know how ChatGPT or AI in general will be able to create B-rolls. You know what B-rolls means? Is basically you give them a prompt and they will create a video footage by imagining the scene, and they will give you the B-roll that you can put in your videos in a matter of minutes. Whereas artists would take I don't know, like hours, days, or weeks to create that. So it is an argument that the editor's jobs in this context will be eliminated because the AI will do it. But then people forget to mention that all of these jobs that will be eliminated, there will be more jobs created in the creator world. Like if you're a YouTube creator, now you're easily enabled to make more videos because there is less cost to you. Where you needed to hire editors before, which were very expensive to create your videos, that was a barrier to entry. But now that barrier to entry will be lifted, which means more people can enter in content creation and use that cheap service, right? So yeah, you're eliminating jobs from one end, but you're adding them to the other end. So universal basic income, I don't know when that point will come. Like it would have to be a saturation point somewhere where there are basically little to no jobs left for humans to do. I don't see that anywhere near yet, but yeah, we can talk about it then. I personally think if there was a time where you didn't need to, if human beings were not needed to do any jobs, then I think we are close to extinction, because at that point AI would have completely replaced us, and so there would be a reason for AI to domesticate us and use it for some sort of purpose. And if it doesn't see a use case for domesticating us either, then the only option left is to eliminate us, because we have no use at that point. I can't explain my question in exact words about the technology, but I have something to tell you. Wait a minute. Okay. Rafi falsely accused them. Yeah, so she falsely accused them, right? Yeah. It happens in India a lot too. I think you probably already know. We have somebody named Putin in our chat. Putin has a story like that. He emailed it to me. There are not a lot of people watching right now, so I'll save it for some other time. But what Putin had was some girl. Putin, let me know if you're still in the chat. But some girl also falsely accused him, and the guys basically assaulted him while he was alone, and not a lot of people came to help him. So he has a similar story. All right. So chat, I think this is the end of the stream. It was nice chatting with you. Okay, anti-gynocentric Buddha. So you said, wait a minute? Bro, you need to hurry up, because I need to end the stream. If you don't come back fast, you can also email me the information. Putin said, I'm here, brother. Yeah, Putin. So yeah, Putin is here. So Putin has a similar story. Putin, I'm holding on to your story. Since I know, what I wanted to do was do an interview with you where you can tell it everything in detail rather than me reading a few lines. I think I was gonna reach out to you in the second half of May, because I need one more person to join us. Hey Nick, please do watch this particular episode of this anime called Kino's Journey 2003. The episode is 5, named 3 Men Along the Rails. Please do watch this. We'll address the work question. What is it? Kino's Journey 2003? Kino's Journey 2003, episode 5. 3 men along the rails? Is this on YouTube? Kino's journey. Episode 5, 3 and along the rails. Buddha, where exactly did you watch it? Is it on Netflix? Yeah, Buddha, you need to give me more information. So by the way, I think you can also send it to me on my email. So again, I'm going to show you my email on the screen. Yeah, rocksmasculinity@gmail.com. Yeah, this is it. Bangladeshi young guys are simps, bro, and I'm afraid of them. Rafi, you know what? You should look into how much of that is happening in India as well. It's pretty bad. I think you guys might be going through the same thing. It's like one woman basically will level a false allegation. It's like a fabricated claim, and everybody will jump and start lynching the guy because they all want to be the hero. Again, this is what we were covering in Toxic Masculinity stream, but that was last visible during the racial segregation, where white supremacists would level or fabricate, white women will fabricate allegations of rape against black men, and then that would be a reason for black men to be lynched by white men. And I think that same sentiment is more and more prevalent in the society today, except it's not about race now, it's just about gender. Buddha is anime Gunnar? Yeah, that is true. Putin said, good, I would be free to do so. Okay, great. Putin, so I have this other friend, and he is busy with semester. He has a lot of pressure. He said he will be done by May 15th. So then we can put you guys together, because I think you guys have the same story. But his incident is a little older, and I wanted him to share with you the recovery process, or you know, how it affects people's life when events like these happen. And because your wounds are still pretty fresh, I think it was in December it happened to you. So maybe, you know, you could learn something, or, you know, pick up some information which will help you recover faster. And if nothing else, it will just lighten the load for you to know that there are many others like you who you can share your story with. On Hi Anime, you can watch Kino Journey on Hi Anime? Okay. Hey, but do watch 2003 version. The new remake is bad, episode 5. Okay, bro. You just gave me a task. This show better be interesting. I don't know what Hi Anime is, but I'll put it on my screen just so I can remember it. Okay, chat, that is everything. I think it's time for me to go. And maybe I will try to join Professor if I can. With that said, thank you everybody for joining. Have a great rest of the day, and have a great rest of the week, actually. And I will see you next weekend. Bye, guys. Ta-da. Ta-da. Bye. Bye.